April is off to a fantastic start, and I can't wait to tell you about it. Are you ready? Let's go! Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something that's interesting to you, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Today, I'm giving a budget update for the first week of April, and the first week of the month is usually pretty quiet for me, and this week is no exception. So, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a cash dump with all of the money that I didn't spend this week, and I'm also changing things up a little bit. So, let me set this aside for just a sec. I'll just put it over here. And I don't have all that much cash to dump this week because I didn't spend all that much cash this week. At the start of the week, I had $70 in cash. I went to the ATM and I took out 60. Well, I actually went into the branch today because there was a really long line at the ATM. So here's the 60 that I took out today. I still have 45 left from last week. So that means I spent only $25 and I didn't even spend it all. I've got money left, and this week I am going to put in a 5 into my letterbox challenges along with all of the ones. And by all of the ones, I mean the 4 ones that I managed not to spend. So going into letterbox this week is going to be 4 $1 bills and 1 $5 bill. And the reason I'm putting a $5 bill in is because I didn't have all that many ones, and I still do want to put something substantial toward Christmas every week. So even though I don't have a specific goal in mind, like a specific savings goal, I still want to make sure that I'm contributing. So I'm putting in a 5 this week. And this one will be a G-Buck. If you watched my video from this past weekend on the Letterbucks Challenge, I explained how even if you're not saving ones and twos where the letters are big and prominent, you can still save Letterbucks. You just have to know where to look. So this one will be a G-Buck, and I'll be putting that into the Letterbucks Challenge at the end of the month. But for now, it's going to go into this pouch, which is where I save all of my $1 bills and now occasionally a $5 bill throughout the month. And it's empty because I did just stuff all of the bills from March into the Letterbucks Challenge. Also, I need to dump out my change. So again, because I didn't spend that much cash, I don't have that much change. It's about 58 cents, I think. So that's all that's going in for this week. And this cash, well, it's not necessarily for cash, but this zipper pouch I got from a friend of mine who recently went on a trip to Vancouver Island and brought it back for me. So, Chad, thank you very much. He watches, so this is very special, and I'm going to be using this one every week from now on. So, I'm going to set these aside, and this money, this change, goes into the big honkin' coin bag here in this sack. And this one I also don't have a savings goal in mind for, and it is also going toward Christmas. And the way that I am going to use this is I am going to turn it in at a Coinstar machine, turn it into a gift card, probably for Amazon. Could be for Prime Day, could be for Black Friday. I don't know when I will start redeeming these coins, but for now I'm just accumulating them. When you redeem at Coinstar for a gift card, they don't charge you a fee. If you redeem for a cash voucher, they charge you some outrageous fee. But if you get a gift card, then the gift card merchant pays the counting fee. So these go in here. And I will set this aside and all of the other pouches aside. And we'll bring back the binder and I'll tell you all about what happened this week because it was pretty exciting. So the first thing in my April budget is income. And I didn't receive any income this week, and that's not uncommon for the first week of the month. I get paid on the 15th and the last day of the month, so I have to wait a while before paycheck number 1 comes in. I was expecting a deposit refund in April, but I actually got it in March. So I zeroed it out here because it's not going to be in the April budget anymore. But I'd already planned for it, and instead of reflowing all the numbers, I think just zeroing it out is the way to go. Plus, I have 2 other sources of income that will come in this month. I am getting a tax refund that I was not expecting. Excuse me, and I'm also getting a bonus. Now I am expecting the bonus. I was expecting the bonus, but I didn't know how much it was going to be. and I really won't know for another week or two yet. So I'm going to put that bonus into my May budget, and I will put the tax refund here in April when I get it. Now, according to the IRS, I should receive it by April 27th, but with everything going on, I'm not really sure if I believe that. So I don't want to count on it as part of my budget. And I didn't know how much that refund was going to be at the time that I did my budget, so I didn't plan for it. So whenever that comes in, if it comes in April, the plan amount is going to be zero, and then the final amount will be whatever it is. It's $975. In fact, I had planned for owing on my income taxes, which I usually do. So I had a line item here for taxes at $400, but I'm going to zero that out. I'm going to leave it for now just until I get the refund, but I'll not be having to pay that money. So that's $400 that goes back into my budget along with the $975 refund. And I've already spent a little bit of it, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So nothing for income. I did have a couple of bills that came out this week. Quantum, which is my internet provider, came out, and that was $80 as planned. And also YouTube Premium came out, and that was $16. $15 and change. Yes, it's $13.99 a month, but sales tax here is absolutely punishing. It is over 10%, and so yeah, we pay through the nose for pretty much everything that is taxed. PUD is still an unknown. So when I moved into this apartment building, there was a past due balance on the account, and I couldn't set up utility billing until that was paid. So it took a while, but finally the owner of the building paid the past due balance, and so I was able to set up that account, and that bill period starts on April 4th. So I won't get that bill until May, but I still have to pay the March balance somehow. I put $150 in here because I wasn't sure if I was going to have to pay a deposit. And as it turns out, I don't, but there is a small amount due, which I will pay. And I've emailed the property management asking for guidance on how do I pay for the electricity that I used in March that they paid the bill on. And I haven't gotten that yet. So, not sure what's going on there. But for now, I'm just going to leave it blank. Everything else is still upcoming, so there's nothing else to do in the bills section. Wallet will come back to. Stockpiles, I did not spend this money yet. I will, but I haven't yet. I just when the first came, number one, it was a really crazy time of the month. I was trying to get my taxes done. I was very busy at work, so this money that I had planned to spend, I didn't spend yet, but I probably will this weekend. So that's still set aside, and I will probably do that here in the next few days. Savings and extra debt from game night. The plan was 300, and 300 is what we ended up with this week. So I already sent that over to my Roth IRA. And that's it for this sheet for now. So next, I'm going to switch over to the cash flow tracker. Not a whole lot to add here either. I will add in the starting balance, which is the same as the ending balance from last month, 1858.25. Usually my checking account has more money in it at the start of the month because I'm paid on the last day of the month, and then rent comes out on the first. This month I didn't have to pay rent because I'm on a promo. So that's great because I had a lot of expenses related to the move, so that ate up more than what the monthly rent would have been by a lot. Outflows, I did have two transactions that came out of my checking account. I sent money to my brokerage for the Roth IRA, and that was the $300 from game night. And I also went to the bank today and took money out, and that was $60. So that's all that's come out so far, and nothing that's gone in. That will change next week, but for this week, that's all there is. Next up is the expense tracker. I'm just going to break the video here before it gets too long. I've got a few from this week, and we'll talk about that here in just a sec. Okay, expense tracker. This is anything that I put on a credit card this week. I use credit cards for the rewards, and I always pay them off at the end of each month. I've been debt-free for a while now, and I've been wanting to film a YouTube video about how I got to debt-free, but I just haven't had time lately. So that will be coming out at some point, but as of right now, I'm not sure when. But let's put in the expenses for this week. Okay, so on the 3rd, I spent money at online marketplace overseas, and this was this was for a birthday present, so I'm just going to put in here birthday. It's not something that I budgeted for, but the only reason I spent the money is because by the time I did, I knew that I was going to get this refund from the IRS. So as pretty much as soon as I filed the taxes, I made the purchase. So that was $84.58, and I'm crossing my fingers that that really is the final total. But we'll see if I get a bill from customs for import duties or anything like that. Okay, then on the 4th, I went to the grocery store. So that was food, and that was $31.34. On the 5th, I got DoorDash food, $19.14. On the 6th, DoorDash again, food, and that was $18.83. Also on the 6th, I went to Target, and there I spent $80.97, mostly on food. There was also some household, but primarily it was food. On the 9th, I went to Thriftway, only if I can spell it, Thriftway, which is another grocery store here, and I spent $27 and a penny. On the 10th, which was today as I'm filming this, DoorDash, I got to work super early and realized that I hadn't eaten breakfast. So I ended up having that DoorDash to me for $20.25. It was a really expensive breakfast. And then also today is weekly cash. And this doesn't get a category because cash could have gone to anything. And I am saying that I spent $35. Even though some of that went into the Letterbox challenge, for the purposes of the expense tracker, I count that as money spent. So let's see how much left my hands this week. So 84.58, 31.34, 19.14, 18.83, 80.97, 27.01, 20.25, and 35. $317.12. So that is what I'm going to put into the tracker. Now I am over budget, but most of the overage, well, all of the overage and then some was due to that birthday gift. That was not something that I had budgeted for, but because it was the right gift, and because I knew that I was going to get a refund from the IRS and that I wasn't going to have to pay any taxes, I knew that I would have the money in my budget to be able to push it to cash flow to do that. So that is how I justified that. And it's also something that I won't have to plan for later. The gift is purchased and it's on its way. So I'm just going to go back here and color code. Oops, I went one too far. Month-end review is a little premature, and I'm just going to color code all of these. And this is just something that I do. Just something that I do so that I know which expense was from which week, because I don't always remember where the weeks fall, especially since my budgeting weeks go from Friday through Thursday. So those are all color coded. Now, what I'm going to do is go over to my savings pages, and we're going to talk about not the emergency fund because that's fully funded. We're going to go over to the IRA and bring this over here. Oops, I drag everything with me. Okay, so Thanks to game night this week, I am contributing on, oops, I put in March. I will just scratch that out. April, what would that have been? 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th? 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th. I put in $300. That was from game night. And so that brings us to 1412 contributed so far this year. I got a late start, but that was because I had to fully fund my emergency fund. So once I got done with that, then I started contributing to my IRA, or as I'm calling it, the Sloth IRA, because I'm taking it slow this year. In years past, I have plowed a whole bunch of money into it at once. And this year, I'm being a little bit more methodical, doing about $300 a week, which is still pretty fast, but um, with the volatility in the markets, I just want to make sure that I'm not going too fast and potentially buying in at the wrong time. So I'm going to stamp 3 of these here. This Sloth IRA tracker is available in my Etsy shop, along with all of the trackers that I use in my weekly budgeting. If you're interested, they're all digital downloads. And I have other items in my Etsy shop as well that are physical products, savings challenges, and whatnot that I will ship to you if you like them. So if you want to see me playing those, I do those on Mondays for game night, and on Wednesdays I do savings challenge books. So look forward to that if you haven't seen those videos already. So that's it for the budget update for this week. Again, not a whole lot of transactions, not a whole lot of things going on this early in the month. I already know that my plan that I made for April is kind of out the window a little bit, just because I didn't have all of the information that I would need to know exactly where it was going to fall. And that, for me, I've come to realize is not uncommon. I work in sales, so I receive a bonus check every 3 months, provided I hit my goals. And I always know that check is coming, but I never know what it's going to be at the time that I'm setting up my budget. And I don't want to guess and come up short and then have to scramble to figure out what I'm going to cut or how I'm going to reallocate or what I'm going to delay. So I generally don't plan for those, but I always have an idea in my head of what I'm going to do with the windfall. For example, if I haven't mentioned it already, that refund that I'm getting from the IRS, I'm sending it directly to the blip fund. Whatever is left over, I will transfer to either checking or to start on my next goal, but I'm going to fully fund my blip fund. I've talked about that in some other videos, and I'll talk about it again next week when I've gotten another paycheck and I make another contribution to the blip fund. But suffice it to say, it's a sort of an emergency fund that I've been working on accumulating money toward ever since I fully funded my emergency fund. So that's going to be completed this month, and then I'm going to start working on other goals. But look forward to more updates on that next week. Thank you so much for watching. If you are a new subscriber, because I've had quite a few new people lately, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate every single one of you. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, share with your friends. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. And until I see you in the next one, which will probably be Monday night for game night, take care.